Welcome to Creative Living, where we help you live your most creative life. I'm Jane Klaus. Fall is around the corner and it's time to travel. We've got tips on hitting the road to see all the beautiful fall colors. But before we steer you in the right direction, let's take a look at what's coming up on the show. We take a trip to Newport to see their historical mansions. And a unique school with a rich history of showing kids how to succeed. Plus, tips to setting the perfect tailgate table. That and much more on this episode of Creative Living.
Before you set out on your fall adventure, we're getting some road trip advice from our friends at Autotrader. Joining us is Executive Editor Brian Moody with his travel picks. Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
It's great to have you on the show, especially talking about fall travel. So what is the first thing that we all need to consider before heading out on the road?
Well, consider how far you're going to go. That's the first thing. And do you need to bring snacks and a blanket? Because remember, even in the fall, depending on where you're going, it could get super cold. So you might want to bring an extra pair of shoes, a blanket, some water, maybe even an extra cell phone battery or one of those little chargers, you know, that you can charge your phone up remotely, that kind of thing.
All right, so this is a really big question for a lot of people. Do we drive our own car or should we rent a car if we're going on a road trip?
You know, it depends, again, on what kind of car you have. If you have something comfortable that's going to do the job, then go ahead and take your own car. But some people, and I've done this before, is that you fly to a certain part of the country and then you get a car there and then you drive around and then you return it and then you fly home. So that's something that you can do also.
All right, let's talk about your favorite places to travel, starting with the Southwest.
So in the Southwest, there's of course great places to see along the ocean, especially in California, places like Orange County, San Diego County. You can use the Pacific Coast Highway, but you can also, in some places of just Interstate 5, there are some really pretty turnouts. And then when you get to these smaller towns, you can get off the highway and explore some of those places and have a nice little getaway without having to drive super long distances.
And what's your favorite car to take on a Southwest road trip?
Okay, so in that particular case, I would recommend a plug-in hybrid like the Volvo XC60. You can plug it in, and remember, in the West, and especially in places like California and even some in Arizona, there are charging stations. So you can charge the car up, maybe overnight, and you have about 30 or 40 miles to drive on electricity to do all your daytime exploring. And then if you want to get on the highway and head inland, you have a gas engine to kick in, and that will take you the full distance.
I love a good road trip. All right, let's switch gears and go to the middle of the country. What is your favorite destination in the Midwest?
So there's this little town in the Midwest that's not very well known. It's Arlington, Missouri, and you can head there from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and you can see all of these old sort of ghost towns. It's a really cool place to explore, and you can do both on and off-road adventures. Same if you want to start in Texas, there's this thing called the River Road, which runs along the Rio Grande. All of that stuff, super cool and fun.
All right, so if we're going to take that type of trip, is there a car that you recommend?
Yeah, I would say for that, get something like the Chevy Tahoe, because it does both on-road duty and off-road duty.
All right, now we can't talk about fall without expecting to see some beautiful fall colors. Where should we go to see that extravagance?
You can head to the East Coast, of course, and look for places as a starting point like Virginia and West Virginia. Roanoke is a good place to start. You can head all the way up to Providence if you want to, or you can stop in Pennsylvania. All of those places in there are going to have great fall colors. You can go online and find what time of year is best, but usually it's around October.
Okay, what type of car should we take on that kind of road trip?
I'm going to go with Mustang convertible because it's not going to be super cold in the daytime, but it will be just cool enough and just warm enough to make top-down driving fun. And if you don't want to do that, you can put the top up, and some of those roads are going to be super fun in a Mustang.
Any last minute advice you have for us before we take our fall road trip?
Don't assume that it's going to be vacant just because it's a place you've never heard of. So plan ahead, call ahead, do a little bit of research online, and also reserve your car ahead of time if you're going to rent one, because everyone might have the same idea as you.
I love it. Make a solid plan. Brian, I love a good road trip. Thank you so much for these suggestions. And if you would like more information about Autotrader, just head to their website.
A trip to Rhode Island is a must this fall. The Preservation Society of Newport County are maintaining history within their 11 historic mansions, and they gave us a tour of the Elms.
The importance of preserving 250 years of architecture here in Newport is immeasurable, because Newport is really a laboratory. If one is interested in American domestic architecture, this is the place to come. It's an immersion in architecture, and that's why I think the work of the Preservation Society in taking care of so many houses, 11 of them, is so important.
The stories of the houses are the stories of the rich and powerful who built them, and the domestic staffs who made the houses operate. Without domestic staff, the houses were lifeless.
Downton Abbey teaches us a lot about servant life in England, and some of the servants here were Newporters who came to work for the families, and then after the summer season was over would go back to their homes here in Newport, and then others were transported up from New York or Philadelphia.
So there might have been as many as 27 domestic servants working on the inside of a house, and as many as 16 working on the grounds, handling the horses, handling the carriages. And so the domestic service living in the house was only part of the total domestic service staff. The early 1900s were a period when there was labor trouble everywhere, and Newport was not immune from it. As this article from the New York World from July 6, 1902 plainly indicates, the Elms had its own strike, and the Berwins had the standard response: they fired the entire staff. Domestic service was hard work and a hard way to make a living, but it had its rewards, especially for immigrants. This is an example of one of the really well-furnished servants' rooms that you'll see when you take the servant life tour at the Newport Mansions. We're in what we believe was Nellie Lynch's bedroom, and Nellie Lynch was in service at the Elms for a number of years. And we know a great deal about her, so when you take a servant life tour here, you're really going to get to know her from the memoirs of herself and her nieces. An important part of the quality of life for someone in domestic service was the quality of their own domestic facilities. And this one is an example of one of 3 that are on the servants' floor here at the Elms. Now, in the era when the great hotels were opening, like the Plaza in New York, if you've got a letter of recommendation from the Berwins or the Vanderbilts or the Astors saying you've been in domestic service for 18 years and I run the Plaza Hotel, you bet I want to offer you a job. There was tremendous upward mobility for people, not only there, but also in the great department store chains. This is Rudolph Stanish, who came to be known as the Omelette King, and he developed quite a reputation for making the perfect omelet, and it made him a national celebrity. In fact, here's a photograph with comedian Carl Reiner from the 1950s. If it can be said that the butler's pantry was the nerve center for any great house, then I guess the kitchen would certainly be thought of as the soul. And Chef Paul Pascal for many, many years presided over this incredible kitchen, very much like the kitchens in the great houses, not only of Newport, but New York and elsewhere. There are many, many more stories here at the Newport Mansions. Come visit us.
Travel and Leisure Magazines is a great place to visit to see the fall colors is Georgia's Blue Ridge Mountains. The roads through this region offer stunning foliage, and a stop in Brasstown Bald is a must because it's the highest natural point in Georgia, which can give you the ultimate vantage point to see all of the color. But before you plan your trip, let's take a peek at what's coming up. Helping kids stay in school and find a path to their futures. And how to reuse those bean cans from your chili to make a fun tailgate table. Keeping kids in school is at the heart of PepTech high schools. It's their mission to provide a quality education to students who are at risk of dropping out.
Buses actually came from a Seminole school district down in Florida, and I bought it for $19,000. It was named La Tortuga, which means a tortoise, and we would drive the bus down to Sarita. The farm workers coming out of the fields, they would come on board, and we would provide educational classes, everything from literacy to GED, learning how to drive, all the practical things that the students needed to have to actually survive. This is why we continue that theme today. We take the education to the person's mind. Just like we engage the farm workers on the bus, we have the same philosophy of engaging the students in education and understanding that education does create opportunities and what they're learning is meaningful and it is something that will take them in their career path. PepTech is providing an accredited diploma by the Arizona State Department of Education, just like any other public school in the area, and our education services are free because we are public. We have everybody from migrant seasonal farm workers to refugees, mainstream students, and because of the diversity, I think there's a lot that we can learn from each other. We have a number of campuses. We have one in Sierra Vista, the Colin Powell High School, in Douglas, the Raul H. Castro, Casa Grande, the Alice Paul, Somerton, the Jose Yepes, a famous farm worker leader, and of course Cesar Chavez is the one we have in San Luis. We have a great relationship with the school districts and all the communities we operate. They see our need. We get many of our referrals come from the other public schools in the area. It doesn't matter who gets the credit, as long as these kids graduate and go on to college. When I graduated from Pueblo, there was no money. My dad was retired, but the lady from a church stepped up and said, "You can go to college, I'll pay for it." So that's what's motivated me. We need to give these kids an opportunity to go on and succeed. Without a scholarship, a lot of the dreams that these graduates have are dead end because there's no way of going forward. This is what we want to do through our scholarship program. After all, they are our future. And the better we prepare them, the better off the world will be. I think it's very important to go to our website and they can reach out to our organization and even come to our school, make an appointment. They can meet with the staff there, even have a tour when it's able to be arranged. And we're really glad this is not our school. This belongs to the community that taxpayers pay for it. It's their school. We want them to know that we're there and they are engaged and we want to make a success out of our students.
This season means football, but it also means tailgating. So while many of us will be tailgating at the big game, you can also tailgate at home. I've created the perfect tailgating tablescape so that you can get in the action every Sunday with these DIY ideas. So let's first set the playing field and create the gridiron. All you need is 2 yards of green utility fabric. You also need about a 1-inch width of athletic tape. You can use hockey tape or you can use medical tape to make the grid lines. And now you've got the playing field set and ready to go. Now, your referees must be represented at the big game. So let's use our referees as utensil holders. What we're gonna do for that is, you know the cans of tomatoes and beans that you use to make your chili? You're gonna use those cans and you're gonna wrap them in white cardstock and add your black lines to them, and you've got your referees at the big game. Get some new footballs, don't blow them up, make sure they're concave, no air in them, and they're great to use for your dips and your chips, and everyone will love that on your tailgating tablescape. And there's a flag on the play, but these aren't for penalties. These are for fun sweet treat bags. Everyone can grab and go. Just take a piece of scrap yellow fabric, put your favorite candies in it, wrap it up, and you've got a flag on the play. There you go, some great tailgating DIY tablescape ideas. Get creative, have fun with the big game. Another must-see on your road trip list is the Enchanted Circle Scenic Byway in New Mexico. Now, the Byway will take you across more than 80 miles of lush fall foliage, all lit up in vibrant yellow hues. Aspen trees dominate here, so you'll get a different golden glow of color that is unforgettable. All right, let's take a look at what's ahead on Creative Living. Senior living and individualized care all in one place, and how to purchase the home of your dreams. Finding a place for our loved ones to live as they age can be difficult. But at Avenir Senior Living, they're setting the bar when it comes to individualized care.
The origins of Avenir Senior Living really start from a family-based business. The company was founded by David and Violet Craik, and they started this company through their own personal experience. They had a loved one that was in a senior living community that they were not super satisfied with, and decided, because of their background in construction and design, that they felt that they could create a retirement community, a memory care community that was really deserving for their loved one. So what makes Avenir Senior Living very different from all the other companies in the senior living industry is we are a smaller boutique style company. Being a boutique style community or a boutique style management company allows us to really work closely with not only our management team and staff, but also our families and our resident families as well. Our resident really is our customer, but our customers really start with our family connections. So we work closely with our families to help support them with resources and education, because a lot of our families are coming into this situation without a very good knowledge of dementia. So we utilize our expertise and our contacts and resources in the healthcare industry to help these families navigate this journey. Some of our programs that make us very different from our other competitors is our cognitive lifestyle program. This is a program that's unique to Avenir Senior Living. And what it is that we assess our residents and we align them with other residents in our communities through their cognitive levels. So in our communities, we have an early cognition community neighborhood, an intermediate and advanced neighborhood. And what this does, this allows us to have our residents living with peers who have the same abilities and likes, and this allows us to then set up successful days through activities and socialization, which really helps to enhance their enjoyment of their day. A typical resident day here really will start with a nutritious meal. So our chefs are all our employees who work with registered dietitians to make sure that our meals and our menus offer a wide variety of nutritional options. We can also manage specialized diets if a resident needs one. Further to that is the socialization throughout the day. So activities that are really geared toward each different resident's abilities so that they have success throughout their day and it's very rewarding for them. Avenir really prides itself to be a pillar in the communities, so we want our families to know that they're welcome to come to any Avenir community. We will help them to our best of our ability, utilizing our resources and our connections to help educate them. The best way for somebody to learn more about our company would be to visit our website or to phone any one of the 3 communities here in Arizona. It's really important for people to know that they're not alone in this journey and that Avenir Senior Living is here to help.
Okay, here's a helpful tip. If you're traveling with kids, have some road games on hand so you can keep them busy. I mean, a simple game of 20 questions should keep them occupied for, well, at least a few miles. All right, don't go anywhere. Creative Living has much more coming your way. Getting the home of your dreams by asking a few simple questions. Manual builders in Louisiana are on the forefront of home building, and they've got some great advice on getting a home to fit your lifestyle.
My name is Missy Manuel and I'm co-owner of Manual Builders. My husband Greg and I have a residential building company that's been in business over 55 years. We focus on custom on your lot and residential in subdivisions, speculative homes. Our core values are community, integrity, and excellence, and those are really important to us We believe and love people, and we love building homes, safe places for them to do life and make memories.
Manual Builders really caters to everyone. We have couples that come in and they're trying to downsize. We have first-time home buyers. We have families that are, they're growing. They've outgrown their first home and they're trying to build something that's going to fit their whole family and everybody have their own bedroom. We try to cater to all types of homeowners.
The three things that come to mind that a client should know about themselves when wanting to build a new home would be: 1. Do making decisions come easy to you? There are tons of decisions that will need to be made along the way, so knowing if you may need guidance would definitely help you find the builder right for you. 2. What is your lifestyle? How will the home contribute to your day-to-day life, and how will it enhance the way you function in the space? Lastly, what are your essentials? As in, what is your must-have list? What features and elements are important to you and will make your home unique to who you are and match how you live?
For homeowners that are looking to build a custom home, I would say that we are definitely a fit for you. We offer tons of options and everything is located in our design center, so that way it's a seamless and easy process for you and less stressful.
This may sound a bit unusual, but my absolute favorite space to design is the living room, primarily because it's the heart of the home and there are so many things to consider. Living rooms are used to entertain and socialize with friends, yet it's also a place of refuge for individuals and family members to rest and relax from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Elements such as lighting, views in and out of the space, and the overall layout are all important to making this space feel a certain way. Tailoring that correctly to each homeowner is always very important to me.
It's so important for us to connect with the homeowners on a personal level, so that way we can really understand how they live and what they need in their new home.
I would think that anytime someone decides to build, they're really looking to create their forever home. Something that really speaks to who they are and something that they can create that really works well for their family and their way of life.
When a customer walks into their home for the first time, I want them to be able to see the craftsmanship, and I want them to feel like they're walking into their dream home for the first time.
Thank you so much for joining us right here on Creative Living. I'm Jane Klaus, and we'll see you next time. Happy fall, y'all.